Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my budget Raizer, or my budget Nova Grappler deck. So this deck is pretty budget. There's a little bit of discussion I'll do about the trigger lineup later on, but this one's very cool and flashy. I know I'm showing this card when I say it's budget, but that's because I just managed to pull this from a booster pack when I opened the boxes way back when this card was new. But in general, the deck is very affordable, as you'll see the lineup in here. There's really nothing that's hard to obtain. If you want to build a deck and get into Vanguard, or if you just want to come back into Vanguard, it's pretty easy to pick up and it's pretty fun. So let's get right into it. So we are running 4 Perfect Raizer. 4 Perfect Raizer is your... I kind of see him as more of like... if you open up with him and ride him as the first Vanguard, then it is what it is. And you kind of like sit on him or re-ride him once in the game, or maybe twice max, but that's basically all he does. I mean, his effects go off and he does things, but he's kind of counterblast heavy, so that's why I don't like him all that much, but he is still pretty good with the particular trigger lineup that we're running. Next, I am running Asura Kaiser, because like I said, it's a budget deck, so I'm not running the newer Raizer. That's the main finisher card that I see a lot of people running. But Asura Kaiser is very nice. I'm a big fan of the grade 3 drive check Vanguards from way back when Vanguard was new. Velavoi's Reindeer and Asura Kaiser were 2 of my favorite decks back when Vanguard was relatively new game. And yeah, this card basically turns your grade 2 and grade 3s into triggers when you drive check them, and that's why he's a very good Vanguard. So you can't go wrong with Asura Kaiser, and both of these guys are surprisingly easy to get. So, like I said, this deck is easy to build. Next up, 4 high-powered Raizer Custom. This guy is a must-have at 4. He works so well with the starter, which is Battle Raizer, of course. So the 2 of them, the duo, the dynamic duo is amazing. He can call him out from the soul, and then he can be a booster. Then he can also make him disappear back into the soul to dodge retire heavy decks like Kagero, for instance, and then stand one of your other rear guards to get extra attacks. So amazing card. You gotta run 4 of these if you're serious about making the deck. Next up, 4 Burst Raizer. Burst Raizer is another card, another grade 2 that basically on rear guard circle. He can counterblast 1, stand him up. So I kind of see him as the Algos in the deck. That's kind of what he does. And if you got 4 more cards in the opponent's damage zone, then he gets 3,000 power. So he can hit those, you know, like the OTT decks and stuff like that without a booster. So that's pretty nice. In a mirror matchup, he's also pretty cool. So 4 of him. And then 3... Boomerang Thrower. I don't have Brutal Jack, and like I said, this is a very budget deck, so running Boomerang Thrower because he helps you unflip, basically. He basically helps you preserve resources. When he's placed, if you have 1 or less face-up cards in the damage zone, you can countercharge 1. So he countercharges. He also helps you soul charge if you're low on soul, and this deck does tend to run cards like Burst Raizer that do Soul Blast. So very nice combination right there. So we run 3 of him. Next, for grade 1s, we are running Hate Reflector. So Hate Reflector is in here. I'm running 4 of the grade 1 Sentinel. I don't see a lot of people running this, and I don't understand why. Well, I do sort of understand why, but like I said, this is a very budget deck. I do have access to Twin Blader or Twin Adder. I'm not using him right now. Originally, I was using him in the first attempt to build the Raizer deck, but after playtesting it, I really wanted to run fronts. So when you'll see the trigger lineup, you'll understand why we're running this. So also, I'm running this because I don't have access to a whole lot of the key grade 1 units aside from Raizer Custom. So that's why this fits in just fine. It's a 7k attacker or booster if I need it to attack. So sometimes I'll call it down in late game if I need to. And then Jet Raizer, 4 of him. He's your power gainer when you call stuff down and go all out. He gains 3k for every time another rearguard is called. And then I'm running 2 Trans Raizer because he allows you to countercharge Soul Blast 2 and countercharge 1, which is kind of funny. And if that attacks the Vanguard, this unit, when he's boosting you do that, you pay that cost, and then he gains 3,000 power. So just like the last grade 1, because I'm running these. So let's go into the trigger lineup, because then the deck will make sense. So for the trigger lineup, we are running 3 Cannonball front triggers and 3 Turbo Raizers. This is the Raizer front trigger. So I'm running 6 fronts, and of course 6 criticals, Red Lightning and Shining Lady, and 4 heals, Wall Boy, and Battle Raizer as a starter. So I wanted to see the fronts go off. Originally I was running 4 of the Draw Sentinel, so I had like 4 of this, and I think 2 Cat Butlers, and then I had, you know, draws, and then I had 6 critical and 2 front. I had like 2 cannonballs in here, but then I was thinking, like, what? The fronts never go off, and there are situations where I found I really want the front trigger, because I'll give you an example. So let's just say you're on Asura Kaiser. It doesn't really matter if they're on Asura Kaiser or this guy. Let's say you just have Asura Kaiser. You've got one of these guys out as a grade 2. You have maybe Perfect Raizer is on the gift circle, and then you may have like some other random, just pick something, just pick like a grade 2 or something. Just for illustration, whatever, just put one of these. So you have gift circle, Vanguard, and then 2 random regards. It could be the other way around, doesn't really matter, just for this example. So when you swing, you'll do stuff like this. You'll swing with him, and then when the Vanguard attacks, you can stand up. So basically what I'll do is I'll like swing with him, swing with the big thing, or maybe one of these or something if he has a booster or something. So you'll swing with 2, you'll do 2 attacks, then you'll swing with Asura, and then now here's the thing where they'll try to block, and this is late game, so they'll try to two pass you, 2 to pass, they'll put 2 to pass. Then here's the thing, guys. With Asura Kaiser, in this scenario, I'm showing you Asura Kaiser. So you drive check a 2. Doesn't matter, just a 2, not even a 3. So we stand this dude. He doesn't gain any power. It doesn't matter. He's the gift circle, so he's already like 22. So now that, and then if you hit a, let's say you hit like a front, right? Where's my front triggers? Whatever. You hit like a front trigger, okay? Now this guy and this guy are like +10, and then this guy's also +10. So they 2 to pass you, so they blocked this attack, but now they're gonna have to deal with this souped up attack and this souped up attack. So now they got two for the price of 1 card, essentially. So let's do another example. Another example would be, now if I was on this guy, it wouldn't matter because I would just stand them up anyway. But now let's just say we're, whatever, still same example. So now we're Asura Kaiser. Now you swing with whatever, this, then he'll do his own effect to counter blast and stand himself up. So you can do that. Let's say, oh, that's right. Hold on. That was part of the original example. So I swing with him. I swing with him. I swing with him. He stands himself up with his own effect, so Asura's ready to stand him up. That's right. That's right. That's right. So now you check a 2. You stand him. You check a front. That's pretty much game in the late game if they can't, because now they're going to have to block like 3 dudes, 3 rearguards that got +10. So they 2 passed your Vanguard, so they blocked your Vanguard, but it's like now they got to deal with 3 more stronger attacks, right? So that's the benefit of front. Another example is front and crit, because some people will say, well, why don't you just run 8 front and 4 draw sentinels? It's like, no, because critical triggers are the best trigger in the game. Why would I do that when I can like do this? So in this example, let's just say we do, well, okay, let's just say we're on Perfect Raizer now, just for example. So we do this, we attack, and do his skill to stand up 2 rear guards, and then in the front row. Now, so they're 2 passing Asura. Or no, they're 2 passing Perfect Raizer. So now, you check this. a front trigger. So now you don't have to worry where to put the power, because everything, including the Vanguard, is gaining power. Remember, they put 2 to pass. So you put 1. Now you don't care what the next trigger is. It could be no trigger. It could be another front trigger. If it's another front trigger, it's going to hit and deal them damage, and then these guys are going to be like plus 20k. But let's say you hit this. Critical trigger. Now, you do all effects to the Vanguard, you just deal him 2 damage right there. That might actually kill him if he's at 4 or 5. So that's pretty much game right there. Front plus critical, that's pretty much game. Now, obviously, if you do, say, double critical, or critical and heal, that's less optimal, because we did this. You first check a critical, not a front, because you're not running fronts. Let's say you're not running fronts. Now, you check a critical. Now you have to decide where to put it. Are you going to go all in and hope you get a second one and then just kill them straight up? Or are you going to be like, oh, the probability is really low. I only got like 3 crits left in my deck, or 2 crits left in my deck. The probability is really low. I'm going to stack it on this guy. So then you put everything to Asura. So now this will never hit. Then lo and behold, you get another one. So see, I mean, it kind of like, okay, now you can just put it on here. The problem with doing that, or you can stack it all to Asura. Now you're going to have to, you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that the front plus critical is so scary in this setup, because it takes out a lot of the unpredictability or the chance into your decision, which will ultimately make you win the game. So it takes out, it reduces the likelihood of misplays, is what I'm saying. So that's why I feel like front and critical is very good in this deck. And in standard, Link Joker isn't really even, they don't even really do what they are known for doing. So you don't really have to worry. I mean, Kagero is really the only clan that gives this clan trouble when it comes to worrying about rear guards dying. So fronts are pretty good with criticals. And you also have pretty good shield value, because you have a lot of like 15k shield. You don't have any of those draws that have 0 shield. So you don't really have to worry in the early game about blocking for your rear guards if you open up with like a couple of these in your hand. So anyway, guys, hope that discussion helps you think about, like, just understand, like, draw sentinels are pretty good, but there's sometimes you don't need to run them. Like if I wanted to run the draw sentinels, I'm not going to be running the fronts at all. Like, I would take them out completely. I just run the 8 critical, boring 8 critical and 4 draw, and that would be the deck. And the deck would still function. I mean, with Asura Kaiser, you still have extra triggers because he turns your grade 2 and 3s into triggers. So it's not that big of a deal. But I kind of wanted to run a more fun, pressure-based deck, so that's the reason why I went with 6 front, 6 critical. Let me know what you guys think of the deck, and we'll discuss it in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks.